27 Club is a group of celebrity entertainers who died at age 27 of substance abuse. Janice Joplin, rock singer, died in 1970 in Hollywood of a heroin overdose. She also drank quite heavily. Jimi Hendrix, a famous rock guitarist, died in 1970 in London of alcohol and barbiturate overdose. Jim Morrison, psychedelic rocker and lead singer of The Doors, died in 1971 at age 27 of a heroin overdose and was buried in Paris. Kurt Cobain, lead singer of the alternative rock band Nirvana, died in 1994 in Seattle of a heroin overdose and a self-inflicted gunshot wound of the head. Amy Jade Winehouse, born the 14th of September 1983, died the 23rd of July 2011. She was an English singer and songwriter. She was known for her deep, expressive contralto vocals and her eclectic mix of musical genres, including soul, rhythm and blues, reggae, and jazz. Winehouse's bodyguard said that he had arrived at her residence 3 days before her death and felt she had been somewhat intoxicated. Winehouse struggled with substance abuse, mental illness, and addiction. She died of alcohol poisoning on the 23rd of July 2011, at the age of 27. Her brother believed that bulimia was also to blame. After her death, Back to Black briefly became the UK's best-selling album of the 21st century. VH1 ranked Winehouse 26th on their list of the 100 greatest women in music. More recently, a 28-year-old nearly joined the club. Actor Heath Ledger died in January 2008 of an overdose of a number of prescription drugs, including codeine, temazepam, diazepam, and alprazolam. The common denominator in all these young celebrity deaths is substance abuse, a disease that can result in depression, insomnia, personality changes, impaired judgment, and poor relationships. In some of these cases, medical care was somewhat questionable and inadequate, and self-medication was frequent. The deaths in many cases were shrouded in mystery due to cover-up attempts. Celebrity patients frequently practice polypharmacy using multiple physicians, multiple drug stores, and multiple aliases to obtain medications. Denial increases as dependency worsens. Prescription drugs, especially the opioid analgesics, now cause more deaths than heroin and cocaine. All of these drugs can cause central nervous system and respiratory depression. They form deadly combinations with barbiturates and other sedatives and with alcohol.
I get lost in your deep blue eyes, like a shell in the sea. I fall in love over and over when you're looking at me. I think about all the work we've done and all that will be. Through all of the hard and the good times, it's you and me.
What would William Osler have done or suggested? It is known that Osler and his colleague, William H. Welch, were very supportive of the famous surgeon William S. Halsted, who before coming to Johns Hopkins had been treated for cocaine addiction by being switched to morphine. Later, Osler as Halsted's secret physician had a secret diary that documented Halsted's continued addiction to morphine. Osler wrote, he could do his work on 3 grains per day. A later entry stated, he got the amount down to 1.5 grains per day and later possibly got on without it. However, in 1934, Welch stated, although it has been widely reported that Halsted conquered his addiction, this is not entirely true. As long as he lived, he will occasionally have a relapse and go back on the drug. Thus, Halsted led a life of controlled addiction. It is conceivable that a supportive and mutually trusting doctor-patient relationship played a large role in causing this favorable outcome, allowing Halsted's numerous achievements despite his addiction. Society's view of drug addiction has changed very little since Osler's and Halsted's time and is still frequently approached with secrecy and denial. It should be noted that in the 19th century and the early 1900s, morphine usage was not only legal but more socially acceptable than alcohol. Morphine was used during the American Civil War as a surgical anesthetic and was sent home with numerous wounded soldiers for pain relief. Several 100,000 soldiers were addicted to morphine at the end of the war. The federal drug laws were a response to the rampant opiate addiction problem in the USA at the end of the 19th century. Over the years, we have learned that addictive drugs change the brain by crossing the blood-brain barrier. By mimicking various neurotransmitters, they activate the mesolimbic reward system deep within the brain. The brain's metabolism is altered, craving is created, and one's personality is changed. How might we do better? Although some advocates believe our war on drugs is a failure, legalizing drugs is probably not the answer. It would spark considerable problems. Permissive approaches in Sweden, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom were later backtracked. Progress is being made in the treatment of addiction. Residential treatment programs are effective. The rate of drug use among teenagers has been cut nearly in half since its peak 44 years ago. Drug courts are now common, and the criminal justice system has become the most powerful force in the country supporting addiction treatment. Education is the key. Not only teaching youth about the health dangers of specific drugs but also teaching about the disease of addiction. Finally, treatment programs should address general wellness and factors leading to addiction, including poverty, lack of education, impaired mental health, and abuse.